As we approach the trade deadline, we've actually got a few things that need attending to. Looking at our finances, we actually have a few really important upcoming free agents who I didn't even realize were free agents. I had plans to extend Christian Wood before the offseason, but he said that he wants to test free agency. I'm not entirely sure why he'd want to do that. Maybe he's not exactly happy with the performance of the team, but I definitely had a pretty hefty contract in mind for him. Probably more than he'll get on the open market, given the down year he's had so far. We'll just have to see what happens with that one. We also have Kevin Porter Jr. coming up, who for some reason we can't extend right now, but I'm pretty certain he should be a restricted free agent this offseason either way, so we'll be re-signing him. But we do have to ask ourselves if he is our true point guard of the future or not. He's definitely been pretty decent, less efficient than I would like, shooting 44% from the field this year. 38% from 3 on 7 attempts is something I'll definitely take. The defense is still not really that good, and there's just a lot of questions I see when I think of him starting at the 1 spot for us long term. We'll just have to see what happens in free agency and with the draft, but regardless, I do want to sign him here long term. The last guy that we have to make a decision on is Jae'Sean Tate, and honestly, I'm probably just going to let him walk. He's pretty much a zero on offense for us, averaging 5.5 points per game, with 44% from the field and 23% from 3. We already have guys who can't really shoot that we just have more stock in, like Jovic and other guys. I'm sure he'll get a good contract with a contender, and he'll be put in a position to contribute, I'm sure. But KJ has just really won out the race in my eyes. He's shooting 40% from 3. Granted, it's on about 3 attempts a game, so pretty low volume. But he also has a few moments finishing at the rim, and the defense has honestly been pretty comparable. He's 2 inches taller, he's more athletic, so he's able to guard guards more, he's able to guard the wings a little better. Jae'Sean, he's better at guarding bigs, and he's 6'4", so, I mean, it's just not going to work out, I don't think, because we have power forwards. He just has to guard the wing, and he's not always super great at it. Overall, I just think KJ is more valuable because he can contribute on both sides of the ball. And he's like 6 years younger, believe it or not. 5 or 6 years younger. So Jae'Sean probably is going to walk at the end of the year. He'll probably go somewhere where he can, compete for a chip. But back to the season at hand. We're at the trade deadline. We're sitting at the 11th seed, which is honestly good considering where we started. We're in a really close race for the 8th seed, and we're only a couple of games behind the last play-in spot, which is OKC. So the last stretch of games is going to be really important for us. One thing that would really help would be some competent small forward play. Not that KJ isn't good, it's just he's most definitely suited to be playing off the bench most of the time. And after looking around the league for someone, there's honestly nobody out there for us. There's either the superstars who aren't getting traded. I mean, there's even Paul George, but he's 33. Jimmy Butler is on a Heat team that's just been failing all year, but he's not going to get traded from there. Or there's the guys who aren't going to be much better for us. There's Joe Ingles. Do you think Joe Ingles is an upgrade over KJ Martin? I don't think so. So it's likely that we're going to have to look towards the draft for that. If we can get a pick high enough to get one of the top guys, this is the Amani Bates draft. It's also possible that we just slide Jalen Green over to the 5 as he improves defensively, because there's way more guards in this draft than there are wings who are, 6'7", 6'8", lengthy, able to play defense. There's a lot more 6'4" guards who we can probably just slot in at the 2 just fine. So a small forward is currently out of the question, at least at the trade deadline. But what about point guards? KPJ is good and all, but I'm still not entirely sure that he's our point guard for the future. I still think he's best as a 2 guard and would be an amazing player to have off of the bench, or even starting and just, like I said earlier, sliding Jalen over to the small forward position. Are there even any point guards available though? After looking through the league again, no, not really. There's not a whole lot of guys available. One guy I actually really wanted to go for was Davion Mitchell from the Kings. He's an absolute lockdown guard defender. And considering our defense is not good, I think he'd be an enormous step up for us. He's shooting 39% from 3 on the season, and he's only in his second year, so there's plenty of room for that to improve. He's also a very good playmaker, and so I think our other offensive options can make up for him not being the best on that end. I mean, we have Jalen Green in the starting lineup, for goodness sakes. We have Jalen Green, period. And we have Christian Wood, who is an offensive-based big. I think we can get past his offensive shortcomings. Unfortunately, he's the Kings' backup point guard right now, and they're the 3 seed in the West. Granted, he is only playing 23 minutes a game with Halliburton and Fox ahead of him. Maybe there's some way we could snag him. If we can't snag him, there's another guy I think is more realistically obtainable, DeJounte Murray. The Spurs are bad, and they're looking to sell their veteran assets for picks and young players, and DeJounte's almost 27. He probably doesn't fit the timeline of their young guys like Jalen Duren, Keldon Johnson, and Devin Vassell, who are all younger than 23. With 2 years being left on his contract, I don't think it would take a whole lot to get him. Luke Kennard would have to be in the deal for salary purposes. Josh Christopher, the Bucks first, which has the potential to be a late teens pick. And the 2 second-round picks should honestly get it done. They have no use for him, and getting a decent first plus a 21-year-old guard with potential is probably the most they'll get out of him. But I've still got some time to call around. I'm definitely hoping this team will change at least somewhat before this deadline is over.